Hi, my name is Jason Grant, and this is Living with Integrity, a series of short stories on what it means to live with integrity. Enjoy. Set your system. In many respects, the entire universe can be described as one giant system of interoperating parts that work together perfectly. You can come to this conclusion after doing many hours of contemplative meditation. At some point, it all clicks together and you realize everything is absolutely perfect. You don't go around looking at a tree thinking that it's imperfect. You don't go around looking at a frog and thinking, why doesn't it have 5 legs instead of 4? You mostly don't look around and look at anything without realizing its perfection innately or subconsciously. But humans have this tendency to look at others and everyone else, including themselves, as imperfect. Either way, the universe is one giant, perfectly operating system tweaked into absolute micromillimeter of perfection. And so that system that the universe is also your own system, and ultimately you will have your own system to which you work. So the idea here is to set your own system, and this system is comprised of values, characteristics, components, processes, inputs and outputs that go into it, and how you handle those inputs and outputs. So you won't ever get away from the fact that you are a system and that you are going to have them in order and set your system so that it produces the outputs that you are looking to get in your life. There are a number of things that come into play when it comes to setting your own system. Ultimately, it comes down to those things that you will and want to do, which I've covered previously. But one of the big systems within you is your mind, your mental system, or your mental operating system. And the sets of patterns, processes, and values and characteristics that both runs through it and that it is governed by, and how it transmutes energy from one form to another. So you might have an idea, or you think you have an idea, but as Carl Gustav Jung would say, it's more like ideas have you. Either way, you have an idea, and how you turn that idea into observable reality is your own system. And some people like to think about it in terms of, I will do everything by myself, and some other people think about it, I don't want to actually do anything, but I want to delegate the tasks and find other people who can help me make that a reality. Either way, it's your own system, and you need to be cognizant of that system as much as possible. Cognizant meaning cog. There's cogs, set the cogs in order so they power one another and move them forward. And as you're cognizant of that system, you realize there are the cogs in the system, and if you have a process that has 10 cogs that are powering one another, if one of those cogs is out of order or not connected to the others, the entire set of cogs won't rotate. You tweak one cog by 1 millimeter, and you will see all the other cogs suddenly start working like clockwork. This is coincidentally the fascination of clock working mechanisms, because there's so many intricate little modules and parts and cogs that make a tick-tock happen and keep that time in sync and regular and consistent. It's not an easy matter whatsoever. But once a masterful craftsman puts it together, then that system runs pretty much forever, and it perfectly keeps the time in time. It perfectly keeps with the beat of the universe, so to speak. Many of you might not like the idea of a system. I've certainly come across a lot of people who will avoid this until the cows come home. I've been one of those people up until 3 years. I've actually been a systems designer all my life, and then when it came to setting my own system, I was reluctant to do it, and I didn't do it up until starting with 3 years ago. And then when I started setting my own system, the fruits of my labor, which was actually the system's labor, started coming into reality. In other words, to do less, you have to have a reliable system that works on your behalf so that you don't have to work as hard. You might have heard this piece of advice or thought, opinion from lots of different people, but in many respects it all starts with you, and you have to be set in the right order first so that you can create other systems that make sense and that are intercompatible with you. And so comes then the concept of how do you work with other people. Work here is a systems work, systematically, collaboration, communication, all these things. It comes back to your own system, and more you're able to elicit your way, the more other people are able to align themselves with you and give you what you want and have from you what they need. So it becomes a system of systems that produces greater and greater outcomes for everyone that's taken part, parts being part of a system. So setting your system in order proceeds from purpose and knowing who you are. It's really that early on in the game of successful and blissful life. The sooner you set your system in order, the sooner you are going to start picking the fruits of your own labor. And that labor ought to come from your purpose and your soul and your mind, and be put into reality. Now, another aspect of system is that, and you hear this from a lot of people talking about habits, okay, developing the right habits. And again, people will not like this word. Many people don't like the word habits, just like they don't like the word system. But either way, habits are ongoing, business as usual things that you are doing that are keeping you going. And so we know for a fact that people who are suffering in life have certain habits that lead towards that suffering, and people who are progressing and having more and more success and bliss have certain other habits that are enabling that. So bad habits would be drinking, waking up late, having irregular lifestyle, being all over the place, being unsystematic in approach to things. And good habits would be eating clean, drinking lots of water, sleeping regularly, meditating, working on yourself, working on progressive things, helping others, all that kind of stuff. So both of those are a system, and they are either you are operating or you're set to a set of bad habits or good habits. Another aspect to talk about in respect to setting your own system is to remember and realize that systems are subject to maintenance, and this is also where the topic of habits comes into play, because let's say you've all experienced this, that if you've been working out a lot and you've reached a certain level of fitness and personal physical performance capabilities, that requires maintenance. And as soon as you stop working out and change your habits to something opposite of that, eating crappy food, just being not stretching, not exercising, etc., you quickly deteriorate and atrophy to the point where you can barely recognize yourself, and then it requires changing the habits back up to the at least maintenance mode, if not upgrade mode, which means really removing all those things that you don't want and installing those things that you do want. Either way, this is all about setting your own system. And the quicker you come to terms with this and really face it head on, the quicker you're going to start experiencing exponential excitement. You see what I did there? Experiencing exponential excitement. Triple X of setting your own system. Peace. Thank you very much for watching yet another story from Living with Integrity series. Please post in the comments on what caught your attention the most, perhaps thought that you had or a question that you have for me. I'll most likely introduce it in future episodes as a theme. Also, if you like or dislike this, please do so and share this with other friends of yours who will benefit from this. I really want to turn this into a community effort, and I'm committed to posting once or twice a week, so watch out for future episodes. Subscribe to the channel as well and ring the bell so you can get the notification when the next story is up. I've got loads and loads of these, hundreds of them in plan, so please stay tuned and let's get this channel growing. Thank you so much.